I have chosen to become a teacher because I want to make a difference in the world. Teachers play a major role in the development of young minds and in helping people make sense of their own identity and of the world. Because of this, they help to determine how the next generation will be. Being a teacher is a way to ethically practice social activism, promote social justice, and become an agent of change. I was called to this profession during my freshman year of college when I worked as a servant leader intern for the Children's Defense Fund. As a servant leader intern, I spent a summer working with youth from underserved urban areas by teaching language arts to help close the literacy gap that occurs as a result of being out of school during summer months. This internship showed me the power of being an educator. Students come from various backgrounds who need caring, informed, and effective teachers that help combat the unfavorable experiences that students may experience in their lives. I see teaching as being a major part of my journey in connecting with others and feeling a sense of fulfillment because it calls me to intentionally build relationships with youth, families, and other educators to help them grow holistically as well as myself. I can recall several times during my educational and personal journey that has required me to demonstrate resiliency in the face of adversity. Being a Black female from a single-parent home growing up in poverty, I am extremely blessed to be where I am today. While in high school, I had limited access to the materials required for my classes. I was unable to apply to all of the colleges I wanted to because my mother didn't have the financial resources to pay for my applications. And I was excluded from many out-of-school social activities because I was ashamed about my clothes, and I had no money to participate in these activities. I began to find comfort and confidence by expressing myself through poetry and connecting with my teachers who understood my experience. While I wasn't able to do what everyone else my age did, and I did not have the same opportunities as those who came from families with higher socioeconomic statuses, I found value in my own experience, and I appreciated the lessons I learned. These experiences have prepared me to be a highly informed and compassionate teacher for students from all backgrounds. Furthermore, while I attended UC San Diego, I consistently dealt with racism. I was living in a predominantly Caucasian and wealthy community. I experienced depression from being called the N-word in public places such as the grocery store, gas station, and hospitals. In addition, I experienced a culture shock from going from a community that was predominantly Black and Latino to classrooms where I was the only Black student. I experienced feelings of isolation and non-belonging. However, after finding a community in which students who were having the same experiences and building relationships with allies who strive to gain an understanding of our experiences, I was able to persist through my undergraduate program with a newfound confidence and sense of agency. I now understand the world much more holistically than I did before having these experiences, and I was able to remain resilient through that experience by finding a support system and drawing from my internal motivations to be an agent of change for my family, for myself, and for communities that are similar to the one I grew up in. Teaching every day can bring on burnout and frustration. As a high school teacher, I will be serving students who are at critical points of their identity development and are having various experiences that cause them to be eliciting different emotions. I will have to keep pushing forward and bringing my A game every day to ensure that every student receives a quality, equitable education. God intends for his people to thrive instead of merely surviving. So I would have to heavily depend on his guidance to push through rough times. In addition to that, I would consistently reflect on my actions, reconsider my perspective of a situation, but incorporate others' perspectives to reduce the number of things I consider to be offenses or to be negative. I plan to see the good in all of my students and assume good intentions to keep myself motivated and committed to each one of them. As a Black woman, I am aware of the historical experiences of Black people and education in the U.S. Being that my ancestors were not given the right to have an education, I believe it is an honor to be in a position where I can not only have an education, but I can provide an education to others. My ancestors have dealt with the consequences of being Black in America, and I have as well for all of our lives. And this means to deal with social injustice on a continuous basis. Being a teacher, and a U.S. teacher in specific, is my way of reclaiming my power in American society and obtaining a sense of belonging by teaching young people about the truth of this nation's history and celebrating the contributions of ethnic people along with those of European descent. My current educational philosophy has been heavily impacted by my experience in K-12 education. I recall the teachers who silenced me in their classes and the assignments that put my mother into debt while placing more stress than necessary on myself and on my family. And I still communicate with the teachers who provided a space for holistic growth, protected me in the classroom, and openly shared their experiences with me to inspire and motivate me to keep moving forward. I remember finding my voice in writing and escaping the hurt and disappointments I experienced in my life by burying myself into work. And I remember those who saw me suffering in silence and extended support during my times of need. All of these experiences have informed my educational philosophy to be the most equitable, imperfect, supportive, and effective teacher possible, and to consider education to be more than a thing that young people are required to do, but a vital tool to be a powerful, confident, and successful person in society. It is more than lesson plans and seating charts. It is a combination of training, learning, support, and communicating to help young people become the best possible version of themselves. My experience thus far at APU has impacted my educational philosophy as well. It has challenged me to consistently consider God's word in all of my practices and to follow Christ's example for teaching. I have to consider that I am in a position to help God's children reach their potential and to teach them the morals and values of Christianity through my own actions.